Welcome to Sister Scoot, where we are covering all things related to Marvel news for the week, starting with our very, very first topic. Jessica Jones may be back more than just in Daredevil, and dare I say, this was kind of assumed.
Yeah, but I don't want to take anything for granted at this stage, right?
Fair.
So what Katie is referencing is there is kind of talk going on in the Marvel circles that they're going to bring Kristen Ritter back beyond just Daredevil Born Again for either her own kind of reset of her show, similar to what they're doing on Born Again, or a special presentation, which is obviously what they have chosen to do with The Punisher. So we've kind of either seen or will have seen an example of both routes coming from Netflix to Disney Plus and being fully ensconced in the MCU. To your point, I think, you would hope that Kristen Ritter would come back for more than just Born Again, but knowing how much the studio is changing their mind all of the time on everything, and especially when it relates to the TV shows, it is nice to obviously we don't have any confirmation, but it's nice to hear that these are conversations that they're having. It sounds like they're trying to be really intentional too. Like the conversation is, do we have enough for multiple seasons of this show, or does it make more sense to have her as a special present or do a special presentation because there's just not enough here to make it multiple seasons. So I like that they're coming at it intentionally. I like that this is seeming to lean in the direction I think we were all hoping. It gives me a lot of hope that soon we're going to see a little bit more rhyme and reason to what the heck is going on to Disney Plus.
Yeah, I think too, we talked a lot about in previous things, especially in context to Daredevil, Jessica Jones and Luke Cage are really good shows. They genuinely are interesting to watch. I mean, there are ups and downs to everything. Let's be real. We can even say that about parts of Daredevil, but at the end of the day, they are genuinely enjoyable. So
Yes.
I do think bringing those characters back beyond just in Daredevil itself is important to me. And I do think I would prefer maybe just a special presentation. I don't know if the content is there to actually do a full, 3, 4, 5 seasons, because to your point, they're trying to be a lot more intentional with what they're putting out. And they even said, we want seasons. We don't just want one-offs anymore, which I appreciate. I mean, there have been a lot of shows I could have really enjoyed a second season to that we still haven't gotten and we still might not get. So I do like that. I like to hear it. And again, I really enjoyed the Netflix shows. So I would like to see them continue, especially if they're already going to naturally be bringing her back in Daredevil.
For sure.
Moving on to our next one, which is X-Men related, which I love to see. Bella Ramsey, probably best known for being in The Last of Us. I almost totally butchered that name for some reason because I couldn't remember it off the top of my head. Don't know why. It's possibly being looked at to play. I've seen 2 different X-Men characters. Now, I would say it's about 70-30. It looks like 70% is Kitty Pryde, 30% is Rogue. Personally, I prefer the Kitty Pryde role for them. But I'm ready to see Bella join the MCU.
I think I've talked about this on this show before. Y'all, I love The Last of Us. Season 2, we all have our thoughts about season 2, but season 1 of The Last of Us is quite possibly one of my favorite seasons of television to ever exist, period, the end. Even though I almost pee myself every single episode, it is one of the few things that I've gone back and rewatched. I truly love that show. Not in the least just because Bella Ramsey is an absolute, spitfire of a talent. The way that they are able to encapsulate so many of the ranges of motion, and a lot of the articles mention this too, the ranges of motion of emotion of Ellie, not ranges of motion, ranges of emotion of Ellie. Ellie's a very complicated character, and then even though people have their feelings about season 2, you see so much of that growth, and also the way that Ellie is flirting. I cannot speak today. The way that Ellie is flirting.
One of those days.
It really is just a real challenge for me. But the way that Ellie's flirting with kind of her darker instincts, and the way that Bella portrays that is really, really great. And I think that a lot of these X-Men characters are also very, very complicated. Not always necessarily are they going to be good or bad, but there's a lot of interesting and complex themes that are going on in X-Men content.
For sure.
Bella is an incredible actor. Also, I mean, as a young child, was in Game of Thrones. literally the chops are so there. So it would, one of the biggest stars in the world right now, like it would be a huge miss if they didn't bring them in. And honestly, the X-Men is such a ripe opportunity for them. So I get behind this 100%. In terms of Kitty Pryde or Rogue, I'm fine with either. Honestly, I do think if we're going Rogue, it kind of shows, I know articles were saying this too, a little bit of a younger cast, because Rogue is typically, I always perceive her as a little bit older, like, but that's just me. But I just think I think that Bella has a very young looking face. So even though I think they're in their early like 20s, to me they just look younger. They also play in the first season, Ellie's 14, so they just look so much younger, I think, than they truly are. But yeah, I love this, and I'm so excited if this comes true. Also, they're such good friends with Pedro, and like, love that.
Yeah, I would say, and okay, I'm going to be honest. I think it's because I hold obviously Gambit and Rogue to such a caliber for me. It has to be so somebody for both those roles so specific. And so I don't know them that much. I know them from The Last of Us. I didn't watch the show. I've seen clips of it. I don't know anything else that they've been in. So I think that being said, I personally am like, I would like somebody maybe I know a little bit more and who I feel might encapsulate the Rogue role a little bit more. Because if we're being fair, I hate the Rogue from the OGs. What the
It's
heck
Anna
is that?
Paquin, right?
Yes, it's not about her, but it's like how she was written. And
Yeah.
I just,
Yeah.
it's such a poor representation of who Rogue actually is in the comics that I am like
I agree.
viscerally hurt. So I think knowing and hoping they're going to do Rogue actually correctly and she actually has a personality, I just see that being played by somebody who maybe has more. And maybe I just don't quite see that yet from Bella Ramsey. I'm not sure. I could see the Kitty Pryde role a little bit more from what I know. The one thing I want to bring up about Kitty Pryde is we have talked about her and Star-Lord. I do think if Bella takes that role, I don't see that relationship happening because I think
Agreed.
that's weird.
Yeah.
That's
That's a
strange.
huge age gap, and that's
Yeah,
not.
I don't
Yeah.
think whether we want to pretend they're not the same age in their roles or not. I think as an audience, I'm uncomfortable seeing somebody who I'm pretty sure he's in his either very late 30s or early 40s
I think he's like in his
being
mid
with,
40s.
yeah, either way, like being with a 20-year-old. Like I do think that's weird. So
Yeah.
I don't know, but we also don't know if that was the way they were ever going to go. So we're going
Yeah.
to have to see how this one pans out. Maybe these are neither of the roles they're looking at for Bella. We don't know. We have no clue. Just hearsay and rumors and things we're hearing from random people who are hearing things from Marvel. So we'll have to wait on that one. I feel like we have random X-Men cast updates that never are confirmed like every other week. So
I mean, they just got a director, so like all of this is so early in the process and is such
Yes.
conjecture at this point.
Yes.
Like maybe they're taking meetings about this. Maybe they're taking meetings about any other of the unnamed movies that are potentially on the invisible slate that nobody knows what's happening after the end of 2027. And
right.
that's me bringing that up this episode because I'm never going to shut up about it until they talk about it. So I can check that off the list of things I wanted to cover today.
Yeah, I mean, fair. Moving on to our very last one, just a little like almost farewell. Michael Douglas, who the MCU fans know best as Hank Pym, has officially retired from acting. I mean, this guy has had a career. He's 80 years old. I hope he goes to live his life however you live your life after you've acted for most of it. I don't know what one does after that. I feel like you see so much and you do so much after that. Like what, I don't know. But he has officially retired. I think in terms of the MCU, that's clear to say Hank Pym will probably be written out of whatever future Ant-Man content we have. This is not the first Ant-Man related character who's retired from acting, so I mean, Quantumania really did a number apparently on everybody. But we'll see what kind of happens. I guess in that franchise, I don't expect to see a fourth movie at all.
Yeah, I think look, I mean, I think the sentiments after the third one pretty much closed the door to what could have been one of the first 3 for 3s in a trilogy.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
the first 2 were extremely solid. And we've talked at length about that, so I won't go into that. But Yeah, I mean, returning back to Michael Douglas, he basically has said, like, I'm done. I haven't really acted in a couple of years. That's been intentional. He's not closing the door to a really interesting project, kind of bringing him back onto the stage, or onto, not really the stage, but onto the, what you call it, set. There you go. That's the word. I really am.
I don't
Like,
know where you're going with that.
the struggle continues. But bringing him back onto set, he did say he has like one last project he's trying to like get off the ground, and that might kind of be it for him. But I mean, what a career. The dude is, I think he has like 2 Oscars. He's got such a reputation. Obviously, we know him from the MCU, but beyond the MCU, he's been in some of the most iconic films of all time. So, congratulations, my dude. Like, we'll miss you. And Hank Pym is obviously an icon, but, I think he's got the right idea. He's done everything he wanted to do. And maybe or maybe not, Quantumania was like the last straw.
Yeah. Literally. Yeah, honestly, him and it's Hope, but I can't remember the actress's name.
Oh, Evangeline Lilly.
Yes, they did Quantumania and they were like, I will never act again.
I know.
Listen,
and
what is it like correlation, not causation or whatever, but I don't know. Or not like causation, not correlation, whatever it is. I don't know.
But then you have like 2 data points and you're like, it's like that meme where it's like, if this happened and if I had a nickel for every time this happened to this one character,
but it's weird
I'd have 2 nickels.
Twice.
Yeah. That's exactly it.
And
you're like, Quantumania. I wonder.
Yeah.
Yikes.
No, I mean, congrats to him. I'm sorry if Quantumania was like the last straw. I don't blame you.
Yeah,
but
it hurt us to watch it, buddy.
it did. It was actually quite painful. But congratulations on your retirement. Again, I don't know what you do once you finish acting, of all things, but live it up. Do what you got to do. I hope you have a good time. But that has been this week's Sisters Scoop. Join us next week as we cover 3 new Marvel news topics. And on the podcast side, we are moving into our Fantastic Four coverage already, believe it or not. So make sure you guys are checking us out over there as well, because again, Fantastic Four era, guys, we are here. We are ready. We are ramping up. We're excited. We hope you guys are too. But we'll see you guys next week. See ya.